Salisbury Plain is 300 square miles of mainly grassland. And it's home to some of the most famous prehistoric sites in the world. Durrington Walls, Bratton Castle, Normanton Down Barrows, and of course, as you can just see in the background, Stonehenge. The government has recently approved a scheme to close that road, the A303, and divert the traffic through a 2-mile-long tunnel, which has yet to be built. As you might expect, this has raised a lot of objections, mainly around the possibility of significant damage to archaeological sites from such a large construction project. But this is already a World Heritage Site, and because of that, it enjoys a lot of protection. I'd like to tell you about a different prehistoric site, a place that is likely the biggest, most significant and remarkable collection of ancient monuments that you've never heard of. A place that is slowly but surely being destroyed. People have lived here, on or around Petersfield Heath, for somewhere in the region of 15,000 years. The oldest archaeological finds from here date back to the Mesolithic era, but what makes this 90-acre site so interesting and so valuable is the remarkable collection of Bronze Age barrows here. Most people probably couldn't even tell you where Petersfield is, never mind knowing anything about the town itself. But that's because there isn't an awful lot to tell. It's a medieval town originally, founded in the 12th century and confirmed in a royal charter by King John. It gradually grew in prosperity, mainly because it happened to be in between a lot of more important places, like London and Southampton, Guildford and Portsmouth, Winchester and Chichester. It's long been surrounded by good arable farmland, and so became the site for a number of large markets. It was the home of Sir Alec Guinness and John Wyndham, to name but a few people. But none of this has any relevance to the Bronze Age cemetery, because most people, even those who live nearby, have no idea quite how significant a site this is. Currently there are 21 burial mounds here in a variety of different styles, but a geophysical survey carried out only a few years ago shows that in the past there would have been upwards of 30. Some are obvious, such as the bowl barrows surrounding the cricket pitch that are used in summer as a form of prehistoric tiered seating. Some are much less obvious, having been allowed to become completely overgrown with trees and bushes. Some have been heavily dug, but whether deliberately by humans or by burrowing animals such as badgers and foxes, it's hard to say. An early Ordnance Survey map seems to show even more to the north and east of the heath, in an area of farmland that's now covered by housing. So quite what is it about Petersfield Heath that makes it so special? Well, it's not an easy question to answer, in that we really don't know what's down there. We know that this whole area used to be predominantly marshland until 1735, when the lake was dug, draining the water out of a lot of the surrounding land. Ever since then, 22 acres of the heath has been permanently underwater. We have no idea what was destroyed when it was dug, or even what may still be buried underneath the lake. We know the site was mapped in the 1930s, though we don't think it was excavated. We know a number of small-scale archaeological surveys and excavations were carried out over a 4-year period between 2014 and 2017. We also know that in the Victorian period, trees were planted on a number of the barrows to make them prettier, and that many of the mounds are being worn away by visitors walking across them. We know that in the recent excavations, a number of cremation urns, a few human remains, and several stone artefacts were found, but that's really about the extent of it. But that's the whole point of prehistory. Prehistoric simply means that we don't know. We don't know why they are here. We don't know what's in them. We don't know what has been lost already. What we do know is that a few miles to the southwest in Berriton, a hoard of Bronze Age jewellery was found by a metal detectorist in 2016, and that you'd have to go to Wiltshire, to Salisbury Plain, to find a greater concentration of Bronze Age barrow cemeteries. And we know that archaeological techniques are improving year on year, that in the future we'll be better able to understand the history and context of sites like this one here. And sadly, we know for sure that if we don't make a very real effort to protect places like Petersfield Heath, that we won't have the opportunity to learn from it in the future.